You're watching the CG Live podcast. Now, the content for these podcasts are a little bit different than our normal pods as we bring on members and do long-form interviews. These were actually recorded live at our events with members that were going on stage to present. So the content is killer. Enjoy the show. Welcome into the Collective Genius podcast. I'm your host, Leon Barnes. We are at our Q1 event here in Dallas, Texas. This is CG CEO and CG Premier, and I have got someone that rocked the stage yesterday. Fantastic presentation about getting better and not missing deals. Wait till you hear the amount of deals that Ryan Weimer missed last year. My mind was blown. Now, we all miss deals, and that's a pain point right now that we're speaking to specifically at this Q1 event. And I'm sure we'll be talking about it for the entire year here on the pod. Welcome in, Ryan. Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you, Leon. Yeah, it was surreal making the presentation.
Yeah.
And even though I knew the data, it slapped me across the face again because it was just so mind-blowing. So I'm excited to share.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone put that type of number on the stage. And I've been doing this for a long time now. I've heard people talk about follow-up and the importance of follow-up. You know, really, I came into this meeting going, the conversation that I'm having with real estate investors, it's really about four things that people are really focused in on. In 2020, 2021, you didn't need to focus on these things because you could just sell any deal. You know that because you're in a market in Boise that was one of the fastest growing markets. And so you just had everyone coming to your market, especially during COVID. And you've had to recalibrate. You talked about that yesterday, attacking CRMs. And the number that you put I'm gonna get the number out there so we can say it. The number that you said when you started looking at the data, more so than a marketing company, you started becoming a data company, you started looking at it, you realized you lost how many opportunities, how many deals in 2025?
998, Leon. And for context, I'm going to say that one more time. Hold on. 998 deals, guys. We lost almost 1,000 deals in 1 year in little old Boise, Idaho.
Right.
MSA of just over 1 million people.
Right.
Just to give you some context, we signed 200 properties on the dot in 2025. The last one came in on New Year's Eve. We had a huge celebration. We were so excited. We broke all kinds of records. And then when we saw that data, that we had lost 5 times as many deals as we signed, I couldn't believe it. In fact, I didn't want to believe it.
Sure.
Because it's painful to like actually process that and figure out like, what does that mean? I mean, how bad are we? But you can look at it like that, or you can look at it glass half full and think, so we really do have endless opportunity here. We don't need to go take on a second or third market. That's so silly.
So for everyone out there listening or watching this pod right now, you can do 200 deals in an MSA of under 2 million and still have more opportunity to grow. Let that sink in. Because there's a lot of people listening or watching this that are in an MSA that's a mid-tier or tertiary market in the Midwest and going, man, I got to go somewhere else, to your point. Define this 998. When you looked at the data, what made it a missed opportunity?
So and let me zoom out for a second.
Okay.
When we talk, this is the crazy thing about the 1,000 deals a year that we missed. Our data set, when we looked, we have just over 15,000 qualified leads in our database. There are 832,000 housing units in the state of Idaho. So just in our CRM, it only represents 2% of all housing units in the state.
Wow.
So think about that. In our CRM, we only have 2% of the total pie, and it's over 1,000 or right around 1,000 deals a year that we missed, right? 998. So think about if we just had 4% of the pie,
double.
If we had 10% of the pie, how many deals are actually out there?
Sure.
And Leon, if you had asked me before we had this data, I would have said, yeah, we're probably missing 100 or 200 deals a year.
Right.
Out of complete naivety, out of complete ignorance that I never would have known. So thank goodness now we have AI and we have tech, and we can add things like property sales AI that can show us when the deed is transferred boom, that triggers an event in our Salesforce. It marks it as closed lost. And that's how we know, okay, this is sold to somebody else.
So closed lost, sold to someone else. Can you identify if it was sold to an investor or retail?
We can, yeah. So
we can differentiate between two.
We can, yes.
Okay.
So we can cross-reference that with any property that's been listed on the MLS, and just do use AI to kind of cross-reference those and see which one's sold off market.
So there were 998 off-market sales in Boise, or the metro of Boise.
Yep.
And of those 998, you had them in your CRM.
Yes. This isn't everything outside. That's the thing, right? This is just with what's in our CRM. Because I'm on all the other wholesalers' lists in our area, right? And what's funny is a lot of times when they send out a deal, it's not even in our database. So this is just with what's in our database.
What you have either reached out outbound,
yes,
or what you've marketed to inbound. And if I remember correctly, the percentage of that, you knew specifically, it was in the 60% that was inbound and roughly almost 40% on outbound?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And of those opportunities, wasn't there a breakdown of how many of those 998 actually came through inbound?
Correct. Yeah. So we broke it down by both lead source and lead status, meaning what was it marked as in our CRM when we lost the deal. And the funny thing is, a lot of them were just sitting in the new bucket, Leon. Almost half of those 998 were people that we just never even got in contact with. So they responded to our marketing. Maybe they filled out a web form. Maybe they were a cold text outreach or some kind of outbound marketing, right? They went into the new status, and then we just never got a hold of them. It doesn't mean we never tried to contact them.
Of course.
But we just never got a hold of them.
So of the 998 missed deals, these are actual sold off market deals in your metro market. Of those deals, you had the highest percentage that were just in a new bucket, and that new bucket represented that they came in, but there was never any communication, whether it be a text or a call or email. There was no communication beyond they reached out to you.
Correct. I mean, we tried, but we never had a qualified two-way conversation to be able to move them towards an appointment or determine they were not interested, right? So we just never knew. And guess what? They were motivated. And we lost them. Yeah,
clearly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean you would have gotten all of them, but there's some missed opportunities there for sure. And this is, I go back to, I don't know if I completed my thought earlier about the four main, coming into this, the main pain points that real estate investors are going through right now. It's first of all, it's leads. You had those, right? You had a ton of those that were inbound. And the rest were, 60-40 split roughly on inbound to outbound.
Yep.
So you had leads. You didn't have a lead problem, right? The second is appointments. So clearly you had an appointment problem on those new opportunities that we're talking about. So there's an appointment problem. And then it's a conversion. Well, you got to have an appointment to get the conversion. And then you got to close the deal, right? Contract to close, which we know in certain markets, there's a high rate of contract fallout. So those are really the four main parts. You solve for those, everything else, operations, hiring the right people, fall into place if you don't have issues with those four channels. And if I listen to the feedback I get the most from real estate investors right now, it's really, I'm back in the business. I'm focusing on leads. I'm focusing on appointments, the things that we can control and we're really good at. You looked at those things and said, I've got this data. Now I've got a big percentage of this 998 that's new. From that, you deducted that you need to do what to make sure that you get opportunities and at-bats with those 998.
Yeah, so when we shared this with the team, we actually needed to go one layer deeper and define how much lost commissions that actually meant for our team and how much lost revenue. So when we did that calculation, it was north of $38 million. That 998 deals at our average deal size of $39,000 was almost $39 million in lost revenue. And it was over $5 million in commissions for our sales team. And that's the number that they were like, holy crap.
Right.
I can be a millionaire here. And then it becomes a tactical conversation. So we established how much opportunity is there. And then the second half of the presentation was all about what were our realizations? Number one, we realized we were drastically underhired. Right.
Of course. Because you didn't have enough people to follow up with all of these leads.
Yep. And then number two, it was a total failure of leadership because we found we were asking our lead managers, hey, how do you attack the database? How do you start and end your day? And in my head, Leon, I'm like, of course I go my hottest to coldest. The people that are closest to a contractor appointment, that's where I'm starting every day. And then I'll work my way through to the coldest, right? And when we asked our lead managers that, they gave us all different answers of what lists they call in what order and how they do follow-up. And that was the realization that it was a total failure of leadership, that we're not actually, people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught.
I love that quote. I've got it written down right here from my notes yesterday.
Yes.
So if you're watching or listening to this, people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. Most of your employees don't want to, you're always continuously training, but what we forget is that, most people need at least minimum of 7 times to retain information. And I see this sometimes in coaching for sports and coaching for business, that we as leaders, especially mid-tier leaders, will say, I've taught them that. They should know that. But again, they have to be reminded until it becomes this habit. And even when it becomes a habit, people get stuck in their ways, and you have to remind them of what they have to be doing. And so everyone's consistent across the board. What I love about that is you took the ownership first and foremost. If you're listening or watching this, the thing I love the most about what you said is we first identify the opportunity. From that total opportunity, here's what it means to you, Mr. or Mrs. Employee.
Yes.
It means revenue, which means commissions in your pocket.
Yes.
That you might have made a lot of money last year, but you could have doubled potentially your earnings. And you put it back to them of saying, what's in it for you? What's in it for you from these missed opportunities is the opportunity to help more people while also making more money. It's a win-win-win across the board.
Exactly. In that frame, I think a lot of people, they would be tempted to go to their team and be like, oh, guys, we suck. Look at how many deals we lost. Instead of, guys, look at how much opportunity there is here.
You framed it correctly.
Yes. And then that level of buy-in, Leon, that we saw when we got this, we share this at every monthly town hall. We review this every quarterly. Now they're actually bought into follow-up. You're no longer that crazy visionary shouting at the clouds like the fortune's in the follow-up and why aren't we following up enough and how did we miss that? No, it's all like, holy crap, the team is actually coming to me like those targets are too low.
Yeah.
We can do more. And you're not just relying on hopium and like this blind like optimism that we as visionaries have, right? When you have the data, it carries a different amount of professional weight.
The data gives you the opportunity that the word hopium that you just said. You in your presentation yesterday said you're trying to break through that $5 million ceiling.
Yep.
And if you want to, I saw this especially in corporate sales. Every year, we would have, especially in the business that I was in, we had a new $1 million, new plus $1 million goal every year.
Yep.
Okay. So if we're 10 million, now we need to be 11 million, 12. It didn't matter what the market was doing. They throw another million on us.
Sure.
No one ever gave us what you just gave us. And so every year is like, at some point, you do that for 10, 11 years, and you just get burnt out because you're like, I can't squeeze another million. That's the thought process that goes through your head. It's like, where are they finding that this opportunity exists? Where in your particular case, you use the data to say 5 million actually is a low point, and they start coming to you. That's how you build a winning culture.
100%.
If you show the opportunity that is possible for them. You may be a losing team today, but the quickest way to show that there's an opportunity to win by data specific, hey guys, we're getting better, we're doing these things, and we look up and now we're breaking 5 and we're on our way to 10.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, Leon, is in coming to that realization, like we actually don't need to spend more in marketing. We just need to get better at sales ops, which is the boring stuff that nobody wants to work on, right?
Right.
A lot of people, they'll just press the easy button. They'll spend more in marketing.
Right.
They'll be like, well, that sounds messy. That sounds uncomfortable. That requires more skills, more leadership, more hiring, more firing, more onboarding, more training, right? All the things that, I'd rather just stay comfortable and spend more money on marketing. And they just honestly, they just dig themselves a deeper hole, and their profitability goes down. What happens is less money in their pocket.
And then I hear from a lot of investors, direct mail, just the ROAS just continued to get lower and lower and lower. And I was at a 5x return, and now I'm at a 3x return. But by the way, if you get a 3x return, it's still a really, really good return.
Totally.
But if you're getting a 3x return, this lesson that you learned, that you helped everyone with from the main stage yesterday, is one in you can take a 3x to a 5x by just evaluating the data within the CRM. You're already paying for those leads. Most of the people upstairs have six-figure budgets every single month, and they're not afraid to spend. But if they'll just take that time, I think the biggest takeaway I had yesterday is you said attack your CRM.
Yep. And I think a lot of people heard that, and I know because I was this person, I was afraid to see the skeletons in my closet. I was really afraid to look at the number. And then when I saw the number, it was way higher than anything so that's a real ego check for you. It's like you have to be willing to embrace that truth and be willing to actually do it, because it's the next step that'll launch you forward.
Well, I think, what do you think the percentage is? You may know the number off the top of your head. I know it's low, but in today's market, when your acquisitions goes out, how many are one call closes?
Oh, very few.
Exactly.
Very few. Probably of the contracts we get signed, first appointment, it's probably 3 out of 10, I would guess. And we're by no means great at sales. We're probably average or maybe even below average, right? So yeah, if 7 out of your 10 deals are coming on second or third appointments, then you're missing a lot of opportunity.
No matter how good you are, there's not, this is a major decision. You're helping someone out of a situation with their largest asset they'll probably own. That's not a decision that someone makes after usually a 20, 30-minute conversation that may lead to an hour. Even after an hour, unless they're losing that house in a couple of days to tax liens or whatever, and they're only in town for a couple of days because someone passed away and they live in a different state. Unless it's a situation like that, it's very rare that someone takes your offer immediately and it says, "Yep, we're good. Sign here. I trust you." So I think the point I was trying to lead to was what you two talked about from stage.
Yep.
Because he also had his very intelligent operations manager up there, Tori, who we talked to yesterday via social media and posted that. Really smart. You've gotten to a point where you can hire really, really smart people to help you with this. And this transition from, we can still be a real estate marketing company, but we also need to make sure that we're a real estate data company. I love that.
Yeah. So without that data and I think this is where a lot of people get stuck, because I was this way. Switching CRMs or getting into something that can actually show you the numbers. That is like you're signing up for 6 months of pain at least.
Yep.
Right. But once you have it, you can get people with a 450 COG score like Tori, who knows what to do with the data and can see the forest through the trees,
right? And
say, now my full-time job is optimizing this and prioritizing how we attack it, so that the more data we get in, because that was the mindset shift. It's like, now with AI and technology moving the way it is, if I get as many correct property owners with the correct contact information in our database in the front end, I let the CRM and AI do the heavy lifting to let the cream rise to the top, identify who is most likely to sell out of your thousands and thousands of people in your database, and out pops more deals and more revenue. Without the data, you can't actually attract people like Tori to join the team. And it changes the conversation, Leon, when you're in a recruiting interview and you're telling people, like, because everybody hears, oh, you can make a bunch of money here, you can be successful there. Nobody's going to tell you in an interview that you can't.
Sure.
But when you say, Leon, we helped 3,725 people last year, and it's the number one thing we track on the top of our dashboard, and we lost 998 deals, which totaled over $5 million in missed commissions. And that's why we're hiring aggressively right now.
Right. Different story.
They lean in, their eyes light up.
Right.
Literally, their physical demeanor changes.
Especially acquisitions equals sales. In sales positions, generally someone's hiring because either the widget that they're selling is terrible, or there's bad management, no training. And so when you're hiring the best of the best, they want to know that there are opportunities for growth. And you've clearly shown that by making this transition from just a real estate sales company to a real estate marketing company, and now adding that, in fact, that's probably something that we should be really looking at moving into. I just had an epiphany. The light bulb just went off. It's sales, marketing, data, sales, marketing, data, sales, marketing, data, because most people, as you're ready for the collective genius, you're more than likely doing some type of inbound. There's some anomalies that are in these rooms right now talking about how all of their deals come from relationships and they don't spend any money on marketing, but that's not the norm. Those are unicorns. And there are a few of you probably listening to this, but at some point in order to grow your business, you're going to have to get inbound.
Yep.
And going inbound, the hardest part is that you now you were just a real estate, sales company. And then you got a marketing arm. And then once you become a marketing arm, now you've got all this fat that you need to make sure that doesn't, it's not the cream deals,
right,
but there's still deals within that fat. And the only way that you turn that into actual deals is from the data side and attacking that data.
And in terms of accountability, watch your team be more accountable. These performance conversations now with our employees, it's so much easier when sales can't blame marketing.
Right.
Marketing can't blame sales.
It's a lead issue.
Nobody can blame the quota because it's all there.
Right.
And so then it really, the only thing keeping people on your team from getting what they want is skill and action.
Yep.
That's it. It takes all of that noise out of those conversations. You can actually have really productive empowerment conversations. And so for those people that are listening that are just looking to go 0 to 1, we included a QR code about how sales contests, right? If you want to go 0 to 1 and get better at sales ops, maybe you're not ready to, spend the money to switch to a CRM or whatever. We included a QR code to get better at sales ops with sales contests. We had quite a few examples of exact sales contests that we've run at the team to boost that competition and productivity.
Well, I can give you one other. Based upon this conversation, when you know the data, when you know we had appointments with these sellers,
yep,
they didn't go with us, they sold to someone else. If you got a high-level sales performer and it's somebody that, is hard to manage because they know everything, you take and you show them on a monthly basis how many of the deals that they lost, especially Joseph Back and I had this conversation, they really changed how they managed leads when they started to see that the offer that they offered on the deal was more than what it sold for.
Oof. Those hurt, Leon.
You want to show a sales rep that thinks, or an acquisitions person that thinks they know everything, and you want to be able to manage that and humble that person a little bit to say, look, we do sales training for a reason. Here's a deal a month that you're losing that is either the same or less than our offer, or just a few $1,000s or more that we're missing out. Now you can have different conversations with people that are high level that you can push them to be better.
Yep, exactly. And framing it with the growth mindset and positivity, because I think a lot of leaders, they lack this ability to turn a failure into something constructive.
Right.
A lot of people will go, you did this and we lost the deal, and look, they even offered less than you.
Right.
How do we fix it? Like, no, man, you are screwing up. It's, man, if we just get 1 or 2% better, you can make this much more money.
The best leaders show what's in it for them. And I will say this, gone are the days where you can just yell at people and do more, do better. The leadership has to turn to coaching. It has to learn, you have to teach them how to be better. We see this in sports all the time. Gone are the days of the coaches that yell and just throw chairs to motivate you, right? No, I need you to actually show me what you're yelling at me about, right? Especially generations today, it has to be just show me the way, show me the data, and I can be better based upon the coaching that you give me. That presentation and this summary, I'm excited. The rest of my day, I don't need any coffee, no Red Bull. I'm excited for the rest of the day. We're in day 2 here. at the Collective Genius, our Q1 event for CG Premier and CG CEO. Dallas, Texas. Our next event is in June. If you've heard anything on this pod, and hopefully you've taken a lot away from this, you got to get in these rooms. If you're a real estate investor full time, you've got to get in this room. The best way to do that is go to explorecg.com. If people want to find you, Ryan, to follow you, to see as you learn these lessons, become a better leader, what's the best way for them to follow you?
Yeah, at Real Ryan Weimer on Instagram is the best way to contact me. I want to end with one thing, Leon.
Yes.
So in 2026, through 9 weeks, we've lost 108 deals in 9 weeks.
And you're excited about it.
And I'm excited about that. And it was really funny to see the crowd's reaction to this, because that puts us on pace to only lose, I believe it was 624 deals this year, which is a 37% reduction from 998. So it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's just about getting a chunk.
Well, you're not going to get every deal.
No.
You're just not. You're not going to offer the same amount someone else can offer. You're going to have better relationships. Some people are going to have better relationships, better rapport that's built and trust that's built. You're not going to win everyone, but every year getting incrementally better in our industry can mean millions.
Absolutely.
And breaking those ceilings that you've never been able to get across. And I have a feeling this will be your year.
Absolutely. People need to be reminded more than they need to be taught, including yourself.
Yes. Remember that reminder.
Absolutely.
Again, if you'd love to be in this room, we'd love to have you. ExploreCG.com. All 4 of our tiers, CEO, Premier, Select, and Elevate are there. Fill out that application. We'd love to talk to you on the other side. If it's a good fit, great. We'll get you in these rooms. We can talk about growing your business and be in the room with great members here like Ryan. Thank you again. I'll let you get back to it because I know you're in a breakout room full of absolute stars. I saw that room that he's in. You would want to be in this room if you're a full-time real estate investor. That's it. We appreciate you joining and watching as always. We'll see you on the next Collective Genius podcast.
Are you ready to scale your real estate business? Visit explorecg.com, where real estate investors come to scale. Subscribe to the Collective Genius podcast and hit the bell icon to be notified when our next episode releases. And thanks for listening. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and the opinions expressed by the hosts and participants are their own. The Collective Genius is not liable for any direct, indirect, consequential, or other damages resulting from reliance on the information shared in this podcast.